Imagine this, groups of people singing about killing you, your family, even your children, just because of your skin color.
Kill the poor, the farmer.
You are cutting the throat of oneness.
South Africa needs healing, not more songs of blood, but songs of unity, of love and justice that lifts everyone up, not break them down.
We're going to stay in that Orania. Priority in South Africa, land expropriation without compensation.
I am the Afrikaner, or the Boer, that these people are singing about killing. They want to silence us by calling us racists. In this video, I will expose the shocking true nature of what is happening in South Africa and the corruption in the government as well. The media and the government has been lying to the international community for over 30 years, since 1994.
The South African situation is very, very dangerous and very bad for a lot of people.
This law permits the government of South Africa to seize white people's land without providing any compensation whatsoever.
People more or less do what they say they're going to do. And so when they're chanting Kill the Boer or singing about it, the spirit that infuses the mob,
the climate,
it's already there.
Millions have no job, no skills, no future. Why is there so much corruption? Everywhere you go, you need to bribe people. It's become normal.
I want to find your badge number, because you've just said that 200 bucks will sort anything out.
He's accused by a businesswoman of accepting bribes amounting to 2.3 million rand during her time as Minister of Defense.
The police, nobody trusts the police anymore because they're corrupt as well.
We are going to continue to expropriate the land without compensation. So we are going to grab each and every farm that no one is using for it, because this land belongs to our grandfathers.
Black people say that they were here first in South Africa. That is a lie. The San and the Khoikhoi, collectively known as the Khoi San, were here first. The Bantu-speaking tribes, the ancestors, of course, of many modern Black South Africans, began migrating from West and Central Africa down into the southern parts of the continent and killed many of them. Because a lot of people say that the Afrikaner people just stole land and English. That's not true. The Nuwe Republic was formed after Zulu king Dinuzulu gave land to the Boers in gratitude for military help. The Klein Vrystaat was based on land legally bought from the Swazi king. And Dutch settlers also bought land from the Khoikhoi in 1671, long before British colonization. They're building ties with China, Russia, and Iran. There's also new information coming up with ties to Hamas. So what are we dealing with? This is actually a government that is socialist, Marxist, communist as well, and just under the umbrella of no, we're democratic. They're rubbing us blind while putting the focus just on race. Now, let's take a look at the military. It's being shown on YouTube as comedy. People are laughing at us. Now, under the ANC government since 1994, it is estimated that there was over 700,000 murders in South Africa. More than all the previous wars or times combined. My eldest brother, Janu, he was killed. He was murdered in Johannesburg, shot 3 times in the chest when I was 13. Most South Africans have stories, or family or friends, stories with crime. There are at least 1 or 2 farm attacks every day in South Africa, according to statistics.
And he was shot in the back of the head here. Just execution style. This is where my dad died. I know, for what, you know? For what?
All people in South Africa are influenced because of crime. And why is the government not doing anything about this? I ask you. Everybody suffers in South Africa. It's not just white. Now, the second lie is that only white people are blamed for slavery. That is false. Black people also owned and sold slaves, their own people and other colors as well. Imagine this, groups of people singing about killing you, your family, even your children, just because of your skin color. That is what has been happening in South Africa and is happening right now. Watch.
Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, pa.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Maritz, in case you're here for the very first time. I am the Afrikaner, or the Boer, that these people are singing about killing. And I cannot stay silent any longer. Every time one of us, as an Afrikaner, after 1994, want to stand up and say anything against crime or the corruption in the government, they want to silence us by calling us racists. But it's not working anymore. Because before I'm a Boer or Afrikaner, I am a reborn Christian. And reborn Christians speak the truth because they love people, all colors. I'm not a racist at all. And so this is a video, a call to bring South Africa together and to expose the lies, to show people facts. In this video, I will expose the shocking true nature of what is happening in South Africa and the corruption in the government as well. Because my God says in Ephesians 5 verse 11, take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Now, before I continue and give you the facts, let me just quickly mention that sing this song, Kill the Boer, it's a song that was there in the apartheid years, right? But it's been over 30 years since that time. And so it is not actually bringing the nation together, but causing more racism, harm, is dividing people. And what might shock you even more is that the South African racist courts, again, recently have ruled it's still legal to sing it. Now, first you need to know that the media and the government has been lying to the international community for over 30 years, since 1994. They just want people to think that, well, now there's democracy in South Africa, apartheid is done, so now everything should be peaceful. It should be this great example for the whole world. Well, then why is Trump and others saying this?
Well, we'll see what happens, but the South African situation is very, very dangerous and very bad for a lot of people. There's tremendously bad things going on, including the confiscation of property, and worse, much worse than that. You know what I'm talking about. And we're not making any payment until we find out what's going on in South Africa.
South Africa's president just signed the Expropriation Act of 2024 into law last month. This law permits the government of South Africa to seize white people's land without providing any compensation whatsoever. The other day, Trump signed an executive order that reads, quote, "It is the policy of the United States that as long as South Africa continues these unjust and immoral practices that harm our nation, A, the U.S. shall not provide aid or assistance to South Africa, and B, the U.S. shall promote the resettlement of Afrikaner refugees escaping government-sponsored race-based discrimination, including racially discriminatory property confiscation." And this order matters. Over the past decade, we've sent something like $6 billion in assistance to South Africa. And so you have to ask, where exactly are the other leaders of Western democracies who supposedly value human rights? Why aren't they cutting South Africa's funding? And why are we supposed to care so much about Palestinians and Ukrainians, but not about white South Africans? These are not rhetorical questions. They need answers.
But we were required to talk about South Africa in a very specific way and to repeat certain cliches at gunpoint. And that's changed in the past couple of months. And it's really changed due to a South African emigre called Elon Musk. This is my perspective. You tell me yours. But he has made it possible through X to say the obvious, which is this is a crime against a beleaguered minority, and this is racism against human beings, and it's wrong. Do you feel that?
We're still not sure quite how attached he still is to South Africa as a country, but looking at his X and his comments, it's very clear that he's interested. The strange thing is, even though some people are very angry with him for speaking about South Africa, the only thing that he's really doing is he's picking up a mirror and he's saying, look at what's happening in South Africa. He's retweeting videos from rallies in South Africa. And
exactly.
It's just a chant, kill the boer, kill the farmer, and there are different variations thereof. And they would make
kill the farmer. That's a slogan aimed at death.
Yeah.
Kill the farmer. Okay. Well, what are we going to eat?
That doesn't matter. Yeah.
They're saying that because South Africa is in a mess. South Africa has been collapsing. Here are the facts. Let's start with number one. Debt and the economic collapse. In 2008, our national debt was 23.6% of GDP. Today, it's over 71%. Companies like Eskom, once a powerhouse that could supply the half of the entire African continent's electricity supply, can't even keep South Africa's own lights on right now. Load shedding has been destroying businesses. Youth unemployment is over 60%. Millions have no job, no skills, no future. So now you need to ask yourself, where do these people get money to have bread on the table? How do they survive? I'm going to talk about that soon. South Africans, You need to ask yourself, those who are still voting for the ANC all the time and who just blindly believe them when they point the finger to white people and apartheid. You need to ask yourself, what are they doing while people are suffering and continuing to suffer? They continue to lie, bribe, and steal. Billions of rands have been lost to state capture and corruption. From Eskom to Transnet, our key institutions are collapsing left and right. There's so many platforms that's been exposing it already, and you can even go back and look at the Zondo Commission. All of these people are rich. They own land, and they care nothing for poor people. They just blame. That's all they do. They lie, steal, they're just full of corruption. It's like even international governments and companies, they pour money into South Africa or have been. That's why America stopped. And it's like a bucket full of holes. The people don't see it because the government takes it. If you've never been to Africa, even north of African countries, why is there so much corruption? Everywhere you go, you need to bribe people. It's become normal. Exodus 23 verse 8 says, "And you shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of those who are in the right."
I want to find your badge number, because you've just said that 200 bucks will sort anything out.
The officer changes his whole approach and decides to take the man to the police station. The man ended up paying 1,500 rand bail to be released.
Ecclesiastes 7 verse 7 says, "Surely oppression drives the wise into madness, and a bribe corrupts the heart."
She's accused by a businesswoman of accepting bribes amounting to 2.3 million rand during her time as Minister of Defense.
From the government that leads by example, it flows into the whole of South Africa as well. Everybody who lives in South Africa, you know by now, if the speed cops come, they always want a bribe. The police, nobody trusts the police anymore because they're corrupt as well. But now I want to ask you, how many politicians have taken responsibility for this? For all the bribing, stealing? You guessed it. They continue to live in their mansions. They don't feel it when the country is in trouble because they've got money. They don't care. They keep on lying to the poor, blaming everything on apartheid to stay in power. Apartheid, it's over 30 years ago. And now they've passed the Land Expropriation Without Compensation Bill.
This bill, assented to by President Ramaphosa, outlines how expropriation can be done and on what basis. This law will assist all organs of state, local, provincial, and national authorities to expropriate land in the public interest for varied reasons.
That means they can take your house, your land, your guns, and even the ring on your wife's finger. Yes, any private property, and give you nothing in return. Now, of course, many people don't read the whole bill. They just look at the title. And now the danger is, and let me just be truthful here, because social media is like a wildfire. It's truth, but also not truth. And you have to kind of move between all this noise to truly understand what's going on. So the truth is, no, the government is not just going around and now taking land yet. They've been saying as well. But they do know the mob mentality. And there has been a lot of people who now believe that they can go and take land. And it's been starting to happen. Look at this.
Residents near Jujuveli have started to build shacks on newly invaded land along Matala Road between Seshego Extension 76 and the Blood River Bridge. More than 200 shacks have already been constructed, and the leader of the group is giving interested people a 2-week deadline to build temporary structures on the illegally occupied land. The group says they have taken over the land and allocated it to the people for free to use for housing purposes. They say the new Land Expropriation Act has emboldened them to take matters into their own hands and occupy land which they see as underutilized. The group's leader says around 5,000 stands have been allocated to the residents, with more expected to be allocated to residents in the coming weeks.
We are going to continue to expropriate the land without compensation. So we are going to grab each and every farm that no one is using for it, because this land belongs to our grandfathers. So we are not going to stop. We are continuing to give people the stands. So far, so good. We give people plus minus 5,000 shacks.
And earlier this week, there were reports that the land seizing from white farmers had begun. 2 farms in the northern province of Limpopo were targeted. Farmers were offered less than 10% of the land's market value, and talks with the owners to buy the properties collapsed.
In Fort Jackson, a specific land invasion occurred on a farm. It was over 1,000 hectares of farmland. And the idea, apparently, is that this farmland would, according to the land invaders, would be divided into 15,000 illegal stands of 300 square meters each. Now, the land invaders were obviously going to supposedly sell these plots for 50,000 rand each, amounting to 75 million rand.
Now, this is all happening right now, but they don't want people of South Africa to know that the government actually owns between 24 and 30% of South African land already. What are they doing with it? Why are they not giving it to people and create systems where these, don't just give a person fish. You all know that, right? But teach him how to fish. They could have done that since 1994. Why did they not? Why is everything they touch failing? We need to be careful that what happened to Zimbabwe with Mugabe will not happen to South Africa as well. They kicked out all the whites from their farms. That happened in the early 2000s. And today, the country is still struggling to feed its people, with over 60% facing food insecurity. So again, the government in South Africa, they already own a lot. 24 to 30% of the land. And while they scream colonialism, they're building ties with China, Russia, and Iran. There's also new information coming up with ties to Hamas. These are countries that silence their own people, abuse power, and reject biblical values. So what are we dealing with? This is actually a government that is socialist, Marxist, communist as well, and just under the umbrella of, no, we're democratic. That's what they want to tell the world. And that's been their plan all along. Well, they use racism to divide us as South Africans, all of us. They just blame white people, apartheid. Ask yourself, what did they do since 1994? It's been over 30 years. Are you better off? They're rubbing us blind while putting the focus just on race. I believe if someone is racist, they are stupid, because your skin color doesn't actually mean anything. We're all one nation under God. You need to be judged by your character, not by the color of your skin. Now, let's take a look at the military. It's being shown on YouTube as comedy. People are laughing at us. The whole world is laughing at South Africa. It used to be one of the best militaries in the world. Today, most of the equipment is outdated and broken. For example, over 98% of our aircrafts are grounded. Only 6 out of 330 are actually working. They say it's due to lack of funds, but it's just because of management. They don't have money for this, right? And we're so in debt, South Africa, but still they have money to even drag Israel to court. They're siding with Hamas terrorists, while in Gaza, even the Palestinians were protesting against them, some even being killed for it. Watch.
Marching through the devastated streets of Beit Lahia in the territory's north, many held posters like these ones reading "Stop the war and we refuse to die."
We are a peaceful people. We want to live. It's the least we can ask for. Bring my voice to the nation, to the leaders.
Israel regularly calls for people in Gaza to protest against Hamas. Since the October 7 attacks, modest demonstrations have occasionally broken out, but Tuesday's is thought to be the largest so far. It came 1 week after Israel resumed heavy fighting after a ceasefire.
Now let's go to number 2, and this is going to shock you because it is about crime. I've got some statistics here that I'm going to read for you. The murder rate is over 27,000 murders in 2023. That's 74 per day. Our murder rate is 614% higher than America. Now, under the ANC government since 1994, it is estimated that there was over 700,000 murders in South Africa, more than all the previous wars or times combined. Let me give you the facts, because this is important. Hopefully, this will open up the eyes of a lot of people in South Africa that still want to support this corrupt government. From 1879 to 1899, the Anglo-Zulu War killed 6,700 plus people in 20 years. From 1899 to 1902, the Boer War killed 100,000 plus people in 3 years. From 1948 to 1990, in the time of apartheid, 21,000 plus people were killed in 42 years. From 1994, the ANC started to rule.
So help me God.
Estimate shows that over 500,000 people, that's 500,000, were murdered from 1994 to 2018. Now, if we take 27,000 a year now from 2023, that means it is around 700,000 in 31 years of ANC rule. Now, just keep in mind, there's over 10 million people in South Africa that's not really South African, right? Illegal immigrants. We don't know how many people of them are killed and how many they kill. We don't know all of those crime statistics because we just don't know. The border is a mess right now. And keep in mind, again, a lot of people in South Africa do not trust the police. So these are only the numbers that's been reported. The true numbers are much higher, I believe. So I ask you, when is the worst time in South African history? Let me know in the comment section down below. My eldest brother, Janu, he was killed. He was murdered in Johannesburg, shot 3 times in the chest when I was 13. Most South Africans have stories or family or friends, stories with crime. You need to understand this is pain and suffering. When you lose someone, you don't expect it. And you carry that pain with you for quite a bit. I've lost 2 brothers. This one was killed. How I was personally affected in South Africa, my family, they broke into our house when I was living alone with my 2 brothers because we were poor, very far away from my parents, near school. We walked to school every day. There was a lady who helped us and who bought food for us every now and then, which was awesome. So again, don't stereotype all white South Africans and think they're rich. It's not true. We worked really hard, and that was how we were raised. But one night they threw something in the windows and they stole most of our stuff. I'm just so glad they didn't kill us because my wallet, well, there was no money, but my cards were in there. But my wallet, my shoes, my phone was next to my bed. They took that. They took the car keys. They took everything. Police came, took fingerprints, but we never heard of them again. They broke into my dad's house. They broke into the church that my dad was at. They stole 2 of our cars. So this was the one time where me and my 2 brothers were living alone, and they stole one of the bakkies. You guys in America would call it a truck. They stole that at another occasion. A lot of people are influenced by crime in South Africa. A friend of ours was shot on a farm as well. He went on his knees. People were angry, but he just said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing." He almost died. They shot him 3 times as well. In the Free State, the farmers are struggling because of theft, and they're just basically holding on. The numbers of farmers, it decreased. There's only around 30,000 now. Black as well. And there are farm murders. That is a fact. There are at least, I believe, at least 1 or 2 farm attacks every day in South Africa, according to statistics. It's not all white farmers. There's black farmers being killed as well. But we've only heard of extreme, brutal killings for white people, tortured, and they would say things like "Viva Malema" or write things on the wall, and those are race crimes. But they do kill black people as well. Those are just statistics. Those are the facts that we do know. It is more dangerous when you compare percentages to be a farmer in South Africa, 3 times more dangerous than to be a police officer. Some of the most brutal murders that you can think of, it's sick, is demonic. That's what I believe.
There was one shot that ricocheted against that wall. All the time my dad's being shot. Back, arms, legs. And my dad slumped over this chair. Slumped forward over this chair. And he was shot in the back of the head here. Just execution style in the back of the head. So it was 8. They found 8 cartridges. But he was shot 6 times. So this is where my dad died. He was killed. Okay. I know, for what, you know, for what? He was a good man, he was an awesome man, and to shoot somebody 6 times, execution style. Gotta take a breather, please.
But all people in South Africa are influenced because of crime. And why is the government not doing anything about this? I ask you. For you in South Africa as well. That's been brainwashed by the government. My wife Nikita's cousin, as he went into his house, he was taken with gunpoint. They stole everything and he's still going. Maybe let me not talk about that. Another situation, my other brother who passed away in his early 20s because of a car crash, Etienne, he had a friend, Willie, and Willie drew money in Pretoria. And as he got into his car, they just shot him, took his money, took his car. Everybody suffers in South Africa. It's not just white. Everybody has stories like this. And it's time for South Africans to stand up against this. In 2022 and 2023, around 53,500 sexual offenses were reported, with around 80% being rape cases. That is 116 rapes per day. Think about that trauma. Let's talk about the house break-ins. That rose to 2.3 million by 2020. Now, that will actually sound a lot higher when you learn that we're only around 60 million in South Africa. Yeah, this is crazy. And remember, these are only the ones that's being reported. There are many things that I heard from friends and family that happen that they don't report to the police because the police is useless. Now, I do want to share this, that I believe actually 100% that all of these evil things, this darkness in South Africa, of course, is demonic and it is used by the devil. Ephesians 6 verse 12 says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places." Now, I do believe that God is love and love overcomes all evil and truth overcomes lies. We need to overcome evil with good, right? But to do that, we need to speak the truth in love. And man, I love South Africa. It is a beautiful country. One of the countries that it has so much potential. So much. And that is why it's so sad for us to see what's happening in South Africa, because it is so easy to turn it around. It truly is. But we also need to talk about the hard facts. And one of it is fatherlessness in South Africa, especially in the Black community. And many of these kids join gangs. And that's why you have so much crime syndicates. According to stats, around 68.3% of all Black children in South Africa live without their biological fathers at home. Compare that to 48.7% of colored children, 19.8% of white, and around 13.9% of Indian or Asian children. Now again, this is not about color, right? This is about culture. What culture has become right now. This is just the reality. We're all one race under God. We are the human race. But without good fathers, teaching, good values, good morals, we all suffer. It has been over 30 years since apartheid ended, with over 140 race-based laws right now. So why is South Africa just getting worse? Why are many Black people not better off? Why are most people not better off?
See them suffer like this, it makes me... Do you think your children are suffering? Well, they don't have the life what I want for them, you know? And I think that for them is suffering.
Why has crime shot through the roof? And why is the poverty rate still over 30%? I truly believe it is because of a fatherlessness society, a corrupt government, and all people with their sinful natures in South Africa. That is why they want to kill, steal, murder, and do whatever they want, being selfish, and they don't care about other people. Scripture actually also says, as we get closer to the end times, the love of many will grow cold. There are a lot of good people in South Africa from all colors. But all this evil is there because of the sinful nature of humanity. And if people do not choose God, choose the light, they choose the darkness. And they want to live for it. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about racism, because there will be racism as long as the sinful nature of humankind is there, which is there. This is the same reason why they want to kill and other things. It's not part of racism, but all the evil things is because of the sinful nature. And it's all colors. So when it comes to the international community, what they're thinking is that, okay, racism ended in South Africa, right? Since 1994. But it did not. That is the truth. It went the other way around now. According to the Mail and Guardian and research done by the Institute of Race Relations, South Africa currently has 142 race-based laws on the statute book. Now, this influences everything in South Africa. There are some people in South Africa, let me talk about the white community, who still wants to fight hard for peace and everything to work really good, but they struggle to see a future for their kids. That's just the brutal honesty of this. And so when you have students in America, it was like DEI, and now it's like BEE. There's a lot of programs, right? Over 142. And so the students are judged as well, treated based on the color of their skin. For example, the University of KwaZulu-Natal, the UKZN, medical school reserves 69% of its 250 spots annually for Black students. Indian students have 19% quota. Coloreds, 9%, and whites, only 2%. Now, this is why many white people in South Africa will want to leave South Africa, and many have, many great professionals. And I think even Black people, of course, left South Africa because they saw the mess that was going on. But when we talk about the reverse racism, I just need to make it clear that this is how, if people can, from this perspective, understand it from the Afrikaners perspective, and also the English people who are white in South Africa as well. We do feel that most of us, we're being judged for the color of our skin and not because of our character. Not all Black people are the same. Not all white people are the same. Not all brown people are the same. Those are just the facts. But Afrikaners are struggling. And for some reason, we are the only group that people are singing to kill. They don't sing that about other groups. Why?
Okay, now your book is entitled Kill the Boer. There's a reason for that. People do what they say they'll do. That's my view. You want to know what Hitler was going to do? Read Mein Kampf. You know, and you think people hide their motives. It's like, no, most people aren't sophisticated enough to have two personalities, the well-developed lie and the actual plan. People more or less do what they say they're going to do. And so when they're chanting Kill the Boer or singing about it, that's, even if none of the individuals in that chanting mob would take the next step, the spirit that infuses the mob,
the climate,
it's already there.
Yep.
Yeah.
The counter argument would be that it's just a metaphor.
Yeah, right.
And you should respect. Yeah.
Really, no, seriously, like, that's not
That's the
a
short
metaphor.
answer, yeah.
Well, come on. There's metaphors. And kill the X, that's not a metaphor.
Yeah.
That's not a cover for some benign revolutionary ideal.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's the call to blood of the psychopaths wielding the sword. And maybe there's some good thinkers around the edge who think, oh, they don't really mean it. It's just a metaphor. It's like, make no mistake about it. The worst of them mean it. And it doesn't take very many people to mean things. You don't need that many organized psychopaths to wreak bloody blue murder.
He would say he's celebrating the struggle against apartheid, and that's why he chants this. But then he would also conclude that he would also say that the struggle isn't over.
Right, the struggle is never over, not for the communists.
Yes.
Well, it's over when they all die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would make a speech, and the speech would be along the lines of, we need to slit the throat of whiteness. He would say things like that. He would say...
That's all conceptual, you know.
Yeah, and then he would make this is an exact quote. He would say, all white people are criminals and they should be treated as such. He would say this during a speech, and then he would give an applause.
That's standard Bolshevik nonsense.
And he says, and then they do the dehumanization thing. They call them cockroaches and all of that.
Right, that's the utilization of disgust so disgust is a very, very dangerous emotion. Like, people have this misapprehension that the German Nazis were afraid of the Jews. It's not fear, it's disgust.
Yes. Yep.
The thing about fear freezes you, and fear, if you're afraid of something, you also respect it. If it's discussed, you want to eradicate it. You burn it. You eliminate it, right? It's a disease like mold. There's no quarter given. So any appeal to disgust.
Or they would say it's filth. They would say the white filth. Yeah, so it's the disgust.
Yeah, blood, purity, all those metaphors, they're all disgust, not fear.
Yep.
Yeah, and so anybody who's making an appeal to disgust, boy, you better be thinking there's murder on their mind.
Yep. They would then burst into this chant. And it's not even a song, it's just a chant. Kill the Boer, kill the farmer. And there are different variations thereof. And they would make
kill the farmer. There, that's a slogan aimed at death.
Yeah.
Kill the farmer. Okay. Well, what are we going to eat?
No, that doesn't matter. Yeah.
What does that mean for our people? How should we feel? Especially when we do see every now and then on the farms brutal murders and those people singing Malema and those things. How should we feel about this? I get it. There's a lot of people who still have hatred, and if you can't let go of that hatred, you can be used by the devil to do a lot of evil things and just make things worse. But this is not unity. This is not unity at all. This is living in the past, not letting go of people who does not even, most of them exist anymore. The government itself. There are a lot of white people who fought against racism. So where are all the black people today fighting against this? I am Afrikaner. My family, we are Boere. We did not decide that. God did. We cannot choose where we will be born or what the color of our skin will be. And as I said, I was born after apartheid. I never support racism. It doesn't matter what skin color it is, Judging people for how they look like, it is wrong. It is not biblical at all. So I am against it in all its forms. But what people are forgetting, and I believe this truly, I believe that black South Africans should stand up against this more, to bring the country together and not fall for the lies of the government. As white people did, many of them, including my family, in the time of apartheid. I believe in Jesus Christ. With God, he says very clearly, there is no partiality. There's no male, no female. There's no Jew, nor Greek, nor slave, or non-slave. All are one under Jesus Christ if we are true reborn Christians. Still, many of us are hated right now in a country where there's a lot of Christians. And we're judged because of our skin in South Africa and across the world, actually, because of the little they think they know about apartheid from over 30 years ago. Just go and read the comments of any of these news sites showing the Kill the Boer song. Read what these people are saying. It hurts me when I see my generation growing up wanting to work towards unity and they're being attacked for things they did not do. It's like, I'm going to ask the editor to put up a photo here somewhere of a little Japanese baby. It's like blaming this baby for what happened at Pearl Harbor. Let's put up a German one. It's like blaming a new generation, this baby, for what happened to the Jews. It doesn't make sense. It's like what happened with the Boer War, right? When gold was found and the English came and they wanted to just take everything, they thought the fight would be 3 months. It ended up being 3 long years. They took our women and children, black people as well, in case you forgot, in the concentration camps. That's where the concentration camps actually first started. And they put glass and a lot of things through in the food, and we gave it up. But we're not holding a grudge against the English. Jesus said, "A new commandment I give to you. Love one another." We need to love one another as ourselves. In fact, Scripture says that we should think of each other as more important than ourselves. Now, with that message, look at what these people like Julius Malema and these people are saying.
This is not a newsroom, this is a revolutionary house. And you don't come here with that tendency. Don't come here with that white tendency. Not yet. You can do it somewhere else. Not yet. If you've got a tendency of undermining blacks even while you work, you are in the wrong place. Yeah, you are in the wrong place. That's rubbish. And you can go out. Yeah, you can go out.
But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness. You must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future,
I'm saying to you, we've not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies. Will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America. There is no song, Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer. That's a chant. We over-explained it in court. If you have a problem with it, go to the records of the courts. The court said there's nothing wrong singing Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer. I will sing this song as in when I feel like. It's not my song, it's a struggle song. Why must I educate Elon Musk? He looks like an illiterate. The only thing that protects him is his white skin.
Now, I've also heard this many times as I grew up in South Africa. A lot of people said that this is our land. You don't belong here. Go away. Well, I had no choice, right? We were born there, and we can't just go and live in another country. You know, we're not going to go illegally. And it's very difficult actually to immigrate. I believe a lot of people want to immigrate, but they can't. It's quite difficult. But let me just make it very clear with facts. The history of South Africa for a lot of people who are indoctrinated and who do not know. First, God gave the whole world to humans. All humans. There's just borders because we are evil and we have sinful nature, so they would not just trust anyone to come in their country. Second, and this is very important, Black people say that they were here first in South Africa. That is a lie. The San and the Khoikhoi, collectively known as the Khoi San, were here first. They were the first known true indigenous hunter-gatherer and pastoralists groups in Southern Africa, including South Africa, with a history stretching back to thousands of years. The Bantu-speaking tribes, the ancestors, of course, of many modern Black South Africans, began migrating from West and Central Africa down into the southern parts of the continent and killed many of them. So if you're saying that all Afrikaners need to go back to Europe, then you also need to go back to other African nations. And I'm not saying that in an angry or a fighting way. I'm just trying to tell you what you're actually doing and saying because it doesn't make any sense. Then the Khoisan actually needs to get everything in South Africa. But you also need to understand a little bit of the history of what happened back then. Because a lot of people say that the Afrikaner people just stole land and English. That's not true. In 1838, Piet Retief and his men went to King Dingaan to negotiate for land. Dingaan agreed, signed a treaty, and then asked them to come unarmed. Then he murdered all of them. The Nieuwe Republic was formed after Zulu king Dinuzulu gave land to the Boers in gratitude for military help. The Klein Vrystaat was based on land legally bought from the Swazi king. And Dutch settlers also bought land from the Khoikhoi in 1671, long before British colonization. Now, I'm not saying this to fight. I'm just saying this to share the truth, to move forward, because we need to. There's a lot of hatred in certain groups, but it's mostly because it's based on lies. And some people want to believe those lies as well, because for some reason it gives them purpose in their life. Jesus Christ needs to give you purpose in your life and help you to forgive and also to discern between truth and lies. Now, the second lie is that only white people are blamed for slavery. I've heard that many times growing up in South Africa. That is false. Black people also owned and sold slaves, their own people and other colors as well. That is the truth. Here's the facts. African kingdoms like the Ashanti Empire, which is Ghana, and the Dahomey Kingdom, Benin, became powerful by capturing and selling rival tribes to European slave traders. They didn't just allow slavery, they profited massively from this. Coastal African rulers ran slave markets, where Europeans purchased slaves that had been captured by other Africans. African chiefs actively negotiated trade deals, set prices, and supplied slaves to both European and Arab traders. The slave trade was often initiated by Africans themselves. Africans sold Africans. That is the truth. When you go back in history, even the tribes, if you look at Shaka Zulu and those, there were some brutal people at that time, murdering their own people, and tribes against tribes. This is the truth. Now, the Arab slave trade actually lasted for over 1,300 years, enslaving millions of Africans. Many were castrated, turned into soldiers like the Zanzi, or kept as concubines across the Middle East and North Africa. But Arabs and North African Berbers also enslaved white Europeans, especially during the Barbary slave trade, which was around 1,500 to 1,800. Over 1 million Europeans, Italians, Spaniards, Greeks, British, and others, were captured in coastal raids, then sold and enslaved in Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, and Libya. Another interesting fact, in case you did not know this, you know that the most famous Christian song in the world, Amazing Grace by John Newton, right? He wrote it, but he was a slave trader, actually. And he worked with William Wilberforce to end slavery after he became a Christian. That is what that song is about, because he couldn't believe how God would forgive a wretch like him. But what a lot of people don't know is that he was a slave himself, owned by Princess Pei from Africa. Now, in East Africa, Swahili Arab traders enslaved people not only from the interior, but also from India, Persia, and the Middle East, as well as other Africans. So slavery was a thriving African business. The tribal leaders at that time, I believe, was evil to do this, of course, but they were becoming rich, powerful because of it. Just like the ANC today, who are rich and powerful, and they don't care about the poor. Those African slave traders, they did it with human lives. Today, human lives in South Africa is also lost. I mentioned it already. Over 700,000 since they took power. And there's sex trafficking in South Africa of all colors. Slavery is not done yet. Now, in the past, African elites often kept other black Africans as domestic workers, field hands, concubines, and symbols of wealth. Yes, there were black slave owners too. In some African kingdoms, like the Dahomey, slaves were sacrificed in religious rituals, a brutal and forgotten part of history. Today, some African descendants of slave trading dynasties have publicly apologized for their ancestors' role in slavery. You know, I could go on and on and on, but let me stop there. Because by this time, almost all cultures on the earth, they had slavery in their past. But good Christian men following God stopped it. God stopped it. Even 2,000 years ago already. The Bible says in Galatians 3 verse 28, there is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is no male and female. For you are all one in Christ Jesus. God does not look at your skin color. He doesn't see what man sees. He looks into your heart. He discerns the thoughts and intentions of the heart. That's how we should need to look at other people as well. Not at their skin color, because that is racist, but at their character. And so I want to ask all the other groups in South Africa to please stop singing this song. To kill the 2.7 Afrikaners in South Africa, 2.7 million. It's not helping the country. It is dividing it. And be honest with yourself. What do you think God wants you to do? What would Jesus do? Would he sing that song? True justice does not come through hatred. It comes through forgiveness, truth, and healing. South Africa needs healing, not more songs of blood, but songs of unity, of love and justice that lifts everyone up, not break them down. So I ask you again, why is the government singing to kill people like me? Who are not racist, who love all people, and who's fighting for truth. Why are they cozying up to Russia, China, Iran, while our people are suffering? Because corruption needs a scapegoat, and racism is their smokescreen. Do not fall for their lies. And I'll tell you, I won't stay silent. I will speak the truth in boldness and in love, because I love all people, and I love South Africa. I love South Africans, all South Africans. Proverbs 31 verse 9 says, "Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy." The real enemy is not your neighbor. It is those who are in power trying to control us, distract us, divide us, and make us dependent. All Afrikaners want to work hard to make South Africa better, as they have always done after apartheid, while the government keeps on destroying it. We have always tried to build it, even while enduring hate from them and from even some of you.
Unfortunately, by the strictest definition of what a human being is, white people are just below human beings. You are negotiating with an animal, a wild dog that you're trying to train to be tamed, to be upopi, you who guards your house. You can never do that.
We are going to stay in that orania. They must just speed up the process of understanding that indeed we as the economic freedom fighters, we have an agenda. And our agenda is clear. It's clear. It's priority in South Africa, land expropriation without compensation.
Shoot to kill Gaza, kill the Boer, the farmer, kill the Boer, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa.
Many of you who are listening who might still hate me right now because I'm just white, maybe you're forgetting. You're singing that song because of the struggle that happened back then, but maybe you're forgetting that many of our parents actually fought that struggle with you. And now we're hated by many of you. Why? Many Afrikaners are different, but if they feel that they are hated by their own people and want them to move, many of them will, because they're tired. They're tired of the lies of the government, the corruption, scapegoating, blaming, the crime, friends, family members being murdered. Many people will move when Trump invites them. And I'll just say this very quickly. This is my last point. For some reason, the news in South Africa and even other media or even on social media, there are people who say, no, Afrikaners are not interested to move. Even people quoting AfriForum. That is what they say. There are many Afrikaners who actually will move if they have the opportunity. These are not just farmers, but people who live in the cities and towns. They will move if they get the opportunity to do so, because they do want a better life for themselves and their children. Who would not want? So when you do go and watch those videos of those news companies that lie to people, go and read the comment section. Go to YouTube, watch some of those videos, read the comment section, see what these people say themselves. Because those media companies, they do not speak for all people in South Africa. And I'll just mention what my own family and friends are saying. Almost all of them want to move. That should say something. But they don't really want to because they love South Africa. It's beautiful. The people are great, but not the crime, corruption, everything else. So I want to ask you guys in South Africa, stop hating, stop falling for the tricks of the government. Take hands, love each other, do what God wants us to do and build South Africa. Start to talk about this. Other colors in South Africa start to also stand up against racism that is going on. The same way many Afrikaans people did it back in the apartheid time. Come on. If you do not want to do it, then it actually means that you are racist. Even if some of you will not, I just want to say I still love you. I love all people. I do not love people's sin, but I love you because that is what we are called to do as children of God. Share this video far and wide. Let us overcome evil with good. Before you go, never forget, life is short. So do not waste yours on the wrong things. Cheers, guys.